Dang, the thing's wobbling again. Hey guys, today I want to talk about the Park Tool wheel stand WH-1. This is my wheel stand. I've had it for about 2 years, maybe longer. I use it all the time. It's a great addition to my shop. If you don't have one, I'd strongly encourage you to get one. It makes working on anything related to your wheels just a lot easier. However, in working with this tool stand, I found that over time, regardless of how tight I tighten it, it will get a wobble sometimes. And the wobble really bothers me. And as a result, I've tried to figure out a way to eliminate the wobble in the tool stand. And I think I've come up with some ways that can make the wobble a lot more manageable. And that's what I want to share with you today. So let's get into it. Okay, let's talk about the stand for a minute as it comes in an OEM configuration. Basically, you have a shaft with a bolt on it and a washer. You stick the shaft with the bolt in a hole on the stand, put the washer in to hold the shaft, tighten it up. I'm using a wrench in this example just to get it good and snug. You tighten it up, and once you've got it good and tight in there, then you can take your wheel and you can insert it on the shaft, and that gives you a good solid mount to work on the wheel and do anything you need to do with the wheel. Okay, here's the problem I have with this. When you insert the shaft, it's in a teardrop hole, and it's designed to be tightened at the bottom of that teardrop. What happens with my stand, no matter how hard I tighten it, the shaft will sort of work its way up in that open area, the top part of that teardrop, and when it gets up in the top part of that teardrop, it's not being gripped as tightly and it will wobble, and that's my problem. Spring of 2025 at the Bentonville Bike Fest, I was able to talk to the Park Tool people who were there about this matter, and they told me that just tightening the shaft good and tight should resolve the matter. I have been unable to get it tight enough to avoid a wobble, and I'm not trying to go against the Park Tool people, but I just want to share with you what I've done to address my problem. Okay, so here's how I deal with the problem on my stand. First of all, I get a different nut to go on there. I have a nut that will be, I can insert a wrench on. I also put an insert inside the teardrop so it'll be harder for it to wobble up. And what I'm going to do is approach this two ways. I'm going to get it a lot tighter, and I'm going to have an insert in the upper part of that teardrop so that the shaft cannot as easily wobble up into that open area of the teardrop. So once I insert the insert, then I put the bolt up in through that opening at the bottom of that teardrop, and then I put the shaft on the bolt, and just at least temporarily hand tighten it. But once I get it fairly snug by hand, then I take the wrenches and get it good and snug. And by having the wrenches on there, you can really twist it down in there, and that's what I do. I get it, not as absolutely tight as it can possibly be, but it's very tight in there. So sort of two approaches. It's in tighter, and there's an insert that prevents it from wobbling up. And then at that point, you just insert a wheel on the shaft just like normal. That's how I deal with the wobble problem. So this is how I make the insert. I get the bolt, I get 2 pieces of little plywood, 2 clamps, some polyplastic, a bowl, and my heat gun. And what I'm going to do is heat up the polyplastic and stick it in and make a little piece. The first thing I do is I stick the bolt in, put the plywood on the bottom, and I want to clamp that in place here. What this is going to do is give you the bottom part of that insert, clamp that in. You want the little piece of wood up tight against that bolt because you want the polycarbonate up tight against the bolt. And get that in there. Then you're going to take the polycarbonate and stick it in the bowl and apply the heat gun to it. Now it's white, but once it gets good and hot, it'll turn a clear. So it's pretty easy to tell when you've got it hot enough. So you turn on the heat gun and stick it in there and let it go. Fast forward a little bit. It's all melted good, and now I have a spatula, if you will, and I'm going to scrape up some of that, good hot polycarbonate, stick it down on top of that plywood right inside that little teardrop shape, get the polycarbonate up good against the bolt there, and then I'm going to take the other piece of plywood, put it on top. I'm going to take my other clamp and I'm going to clamp it. And once I get that clamped, you're going to leave it in place for at least an hour. Then you come back and take it off. And once you take it off, you knock out the bolt, push out the polyplastic. And at that point, you have a mold that you can use, or an insert. Now you'll need to file it down, but there's your insert to go in the teardrop. Well, there you have it, guys. That's how I modified my park wheel stand so that I would have less wobble in the wheel when I'm working on it. I hope I've given you guys something to think about, and I'll see you at the top.